Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking on a really crucial mission. We're navigating the world of ADHD in children.
Yeah, specifically for parents with kids in that 5 to 12 age range.
Exactly. So if you're dealing with a new diagnosis, or even just that gut feeling, that uncertainty, we've got a set of sources here that are just a really compassionate guide to understanding and supporting your child.
And compassion is really the right place to start. I mean, the sources are so clear that when parents first get this news, there's just profound guilt,
Oh, yeah.
fear, a sense of failure,
Yeah.
And so the most essential thing, the absolute immediate reframing is this. Your child is not broken.
That one phrase just, it changes everything, doesn't it?
It has to.
Because there's nothing fundamentally wrong with who they are. ADHD isn't a character flaw. It's not a discipline problem. And this is so important for you, the parent. It is not a failure of your parenting.
Not at all. It's a neurological difference,
Yeah.
just a variation in how their brain is wired.
And that gets to one of the biggest fears, right? That question, did I cause this?
Right. And the science on this is such a relief. The answer is just no. It's a brain-based condition. It's got strong genetic links. It is not caused by screen time or diet or, not being strict enough.
And what about the other big fear, the future? If it's this hard now, is my child going to struggle forever?
It's a valid fear, but no, absolutely not. The trajectory is overwhelmingly positive when they get the right support.
They can lead successful lives.
They do. They lead successful, fulfilling lives.
Hmm.
But it's okay to feel all the things at once, relief that you have an answer, but maybe grief for the path you expected.
Guilt that you didn't see it sooner, maybe?
Exactly. All of that is completely valid.
Okay, so let's really get into that neurological reality because understanding the brain, it changes every single interaction. The sources really push us to shift from asking, why won't my child try harder?
Which is so punishing.
It is, and instead ask, how can I help my child succeed with the brain they actually have?
And we know what's going on in that brain.
Mm-hmm.
Researchers have found really consistent differences, especially in the prefrontal cortex.
Which is like the mission control center.
It's the executive suite. Yeah. It's
Okay.
responsible for all our self-management, our regulation, all of it.
And it's not just the structure, it's chemistry too. I really want to dig into the neurotransmitters because that explains the whole motivation thing.
That is the key.
Yeah.
Yeah. We see huge differences in how the brain uses certain neurotransmitters, mainly dopamine and norepinephrine.
Dopamine is the reward chemical, right?
Exactly. It signals that something is important or interesting. And in the ADHD brain, the baseline level of dopamine is often lower. So a task that's boring,
Like homework.
like homework or chores, anything with a delayed reward,
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't produce enough dopamine to get the focus system to engage.
So the brain literally isn't getting the chemical signal that says, hey, pay attention to this. It has to go find that stimulation somewhere else.
Precisely. And this is why that myth,
Yeah.
kids with ADHD can't focus. It just completely falls apart.
Oh, they can focus.
Intensely. It's called hyperfocus. The problem isn't a lack of focus, it's an inability to regulate the focus. The brain directs attention based on what's interesting, not what's important.
So that's why they can build an entire city in a video game for 4 hours, but can't manage 10 minutes of a math worksheet.
That's the perfect example. One is flooding the brain with dopamine, the other one isn't.
So just to recap the 3 big areas we see this show up. Inattention, which is that classic distractibility, losing things. Hyperactivity, so the constant movement. And then impulsivity.
Right, acting without thinking, interrupting, and all of that whole constellation of traits, it connects back to what is probably the single most important concept for parents to grasp.
Which is the executive functioning gap.
The EF gap, yes.
Okay, so first, let's define executive functioning, or EF. What is that exactly?
Think of it as the brain's CEO. It's a set of mental skills that let us plan, organize, start tasks, monitor ourselves, control our emotions.
All the stuff that makes you a functional adult.
Pretty much. And in children with ADHD, these skills are delayed. Not broken, not absent, but developing on a later timeline.
And the sources give a really specific number for that delay, which I found just mind-blowing.
It's a 3 to 5 year delay, a significant one.
Wow.
And this is the friction point. This is the whole ball game. You can have a 10-year-old who's incredibly smart, right? Age-appropriate intelligence, but their ability to manage a morning routine might be at the level of a 6 or a 7-year-old.
And that explains everything. That explains the morning battles. You're expecting a 10-year-old self-management, but their brain's internal manager is only like 7 years old.
Exactly. Let's look at a specific ES skill, like working memory.
Okay.
Tell your child, hey, go brush your teeth, then
Yeah.
put your shoes on and grab your backpack.
A simple three-step instruction.
Seems simple.
Oh.
But by the time they walk to their bedroom, the second and third steps might be gone. Just vanish from their mental workspace. And it looks like defiance, but it's not.
It's a memory issue.
It's a working memory failure. Or think about task initiation. Just getting started.
The procrastination problem.
But it's not procrastination in the way we usually think of it.
Hmm.
The child knows they need to do their homework. They might even want to. But there's a neurological chasm between thinking about starting and actually doing the first step.
And we just label that as lazy.
We do. We label it laziness or defiance.
Yeah.
When it's really a brain that has to work so much harder just to get started on things other kids do automatically.
Okay, let's talk about the different presentations, because I think everyone defaults to that image of the stereotypical little boy just bouncing off the walls.
Right, the predominantly hyperactive impulsive type, but that's only one. You also have the combined type, and then the one that gets missed so often, the predominantly inattentive presentation.
What we used to call ADD.
Exactly. And this is where we see a huge problem with underdiagnosis, especially in girls.
Because boys are more likely to show those external disruptive behaviors. They get noticed.
They get noticed, they get help. But girls more often have that inattentive type. They're the dreamy kid, the one staring out the window. They're disorganized, but they might be quiet and compliant, so no one sees the struggle.
They learn to hide it.
They become masters of masking.
Yeah.
They work twice as hard just to keep up, to hide how much they're struggling to stay organized. And that effort, it takes a massive toll.
I can imagine.
That's where we see co-occurring anxiety, perfectionism, even depression. They feel like they're constantly failing,
Yeah.
but no one else can see it.
This also helps explain that classic parent mystery. My kid is an angel at school, but a monster the second they get home.
That is the textbook definition of masking. The school day is so structured, so demanding, they spend all their energy, every ounce of their cognitive fuel, just holding it together.
They burn through their entire executive function budget for the day.
Completely.
Yeah.
So they get home to their safe place, and that mask just, it comes off. All the pent-up stress, the exhaustion, it all just spills out. It's not a choice. It's an overloaded nervous system finally shutting down.
So if you see that huge difference in behavior between settings, that's a major red flag.
A huge one. It means the environment is demanding more than their brain can handle.
Moving from the external behavior to their internal world.
Right.
The sources really highlight emotional dysregulation as a core feature of ADHD.
It's absolutely core. It's not just a side effect of stress. The brain systems that regulate emotions, that moderate them, they just function differently. So emotions are felt more intensely.
Deeper highs, deeper lows.
And faster. A small frustration can go from 0 to 100 instantly. A minor disappointment can feel absolutely catastrophic.
And that leads to this concept of rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD.
Yes, RSD is.
Yeah.
It's an extreme emotional pain that's triggered by the perception of being rejected or criticized.
So it doesn't even have to be real rejection.
Not at all. It's the perception. And the pain is immediate and overwhelming. It's why a gentle correction from a parent can trigger a complete meltdown. To that child in that moment, it feels like a total catastrophic rejection of who they are.
So when we see these big behaviors, these meltdowns, we have to remember that quote from the source material. I love this. Your child is not giving you a hard time. Your child is having a hard time.
That should be on every parent's refrigerator.
Yeah.
Behavior is communication. The meltdown isn't about the sock. It's about accumulated stress, sensory overload. It's the child's way of saying, I am overwhelmed and I can't cope.
Which brings us to parenting strategies. If the behavior is neurological, why do things like timeouts and taking away privileges? Why do they so often backfire?
Because they assume the child can pause, remember the past consequence, and apply it to a future action. But those skills, working memory and impulse control, are the exact skills that are impaired.
So by the time the consequence happens, the brain has already disconnected it from the action.
Right. It just feels random and punitive, and it damages their self-esteem without actually teaching the skill they need.
So instead of punishment, we need support. We need scaffolding that kind of holds them up while their own internal skills are still developing.
That's the goal. And the foundation of all of it is routines and structure.
Predictability.
Total predictability.
Yeah.
The ADHD brain struggles to organize itself, so we have to organize the environment. A simple, consistent morning routine, after-school routine, bedtime routine. It reduces the mental load so much.
And making those routines visible, right? Not just saying them.
You have to externalize the information. Use visual supports, physical checklists that they can actually check off, a visual schedule on the wall so they can see what's coming next.
Huh.
It reduces so much anxiety around transitions.
And what about time? Because time can feel so abstract.
You have to make time concrete. Use a visual timer, one of those ones where they can see the red wedge getting smaller. A phone alarm is just a sound, but seeing the time physically disappear, that's a game changer.
Now, this all sounds like a lot of work for parents.
It can be, but the key principle is consistency over intensity.
Right. Don't try to overhaul everything in one weekend.
No, that leads to burnout.
Yeah.
Small, calm, consistent supports, day in and day out. That's what builds skills over the long haul.
And what about how we talk to them? How do we give instructions without starting a fight?
Okay, so instead of a vague command like, clean your room,
Which is overwhelming.
totally, you break it down into tiny, single, physical steps. First, please put your dirty clothes in the hamper. And you wait. You get close, you make eye contact, you give one instruction, and you wait for it to be done.
And the language we use after a mistake is made, that's huge for their self-esteem.
It's massive. We have to stop asking, why did you do that? It's accusatory.
It puts them on the defensive.
Immediately. Instead, get curious. What happened? Or what was going on for you right then? And always, always praise the effort, not just the perfect result.
That focus on language leads right into the long game here, which is protecting their sense of self. The sources say kids with ADHD get so much more negative feedback every day than their peers.
It's a constant stream of, stop that, hurry up, pay attention. And they internalize it. They start to believe, I am lazy, I am stupid. Our job is to fight that narrative every single day.
So how do we do that? What are the practical ways?
First, you always separate the behavior from the child's identity. It's not, you are bad, it's, you made a poor choice. Second, you have to engineer opportunities for them to feel successful.
In other areas?
Yes, outside of school. If they're great at art or sports or coding, let them shine there. That confidence will bleed over into the harder areas.
And when you need to explain their brain to them, what's a good way to do that?
The sources have a great one. It's so clear. You say your brain is like a race car with bicycle brakes.
I love that.
It has a really powerful engine. It can go super fast, but sometimes it's just hard to slow down or stop when you need to. It gives them a framework for understanding without giving them an excuse.
And that race car engine, that's where we can start to reframe these challenges as actual strengths.
Absolutely. It's about a balanced picture, that high energy. That can become passion and drive. Impulsivity can become spontaneity and creativity. Hyperfocus can lead to deep, incredible expertise.
It's all about the context.
It's about managing the challenges so the strengths can shine through.
And a big part of that management is advocating for them, especially at school.
Yes. You have to ask for accommodations. And these are not unfair advantages. They are tools to level the playing field so your child can show what they actually know.
Things like sitting near the teacher or getting to take movement breaks.
Movement breaks, breaking big assignments into smaller chunks, getting instructions in writing, all of it. And the key is to approach the teacher as a partner, not an adversary. You're a team trying to figure out what works for this specific child.
We've covered so much, from the neurology to the day-to-day strategies, but the big theme here really seems to be acceptance. It's about understanding the brain your child has and then building support around it.
And remembering the long-term vision. We are aiming for growth, not perfection. And the outlook is good. People with ADHD grow up to be incredibly successful adults, often because of their unique wiring, not in spite of it.
Which means we really have to redefine what success looks like for our own family.
Exactly. Look beyond the report card. Look at their kindness, their resilience, their creativity. Their path might look different, but different is not less.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on.
Given everything you now know about your child's brain, their challenges, but also their incredible strengths, what does a successful, fulfilling future look like for your family? Not based on anyone else's expectations, but one that is full, meaningful, and uniquely tailored to your amazing kid. That's your compass.